My name's Nelson Crittenden, and I live at Phil Common, Walton-on-Thames, Surrey. My grandfather come up here nearly 80 years ago. They come up from Corkscrew Spit in Kent, and they moved up here to buy bits of land and squatted on it. Some bought it, some put benders up. My grandfather come up with an old wagon and bought a wooden bungalow. A real rye mush, lived in London, and it was orchards. They weren't used like there was in Kent, but the old man used to sell it off bits by bits, and that's how the travellers come to buy the cheap bits of ground. Got planning permission, some did, some didn't. They built places like I live in today. Within 5 mile radius, I should think there would be between 500 or 600 travellers in one spot. Some's in houses, obviously, now, but it used to be tents, benders, wagons, whatever they had. Even air raid shelters they lived in here. I should think there'd be more travellers in Surrey than there would be in Kent. There was everything. It was their only means of transport, only to get from one stopping place to another. Or perhaps go down to Kent for hop picking, cherry picking, strawberry picking, pea picking, whatever they could do. Well, they never had nothing else, but they would use a horse to draw a wagon, or if they was lucky enough to have a trap, they'd put the same horse in the trap and drive to the pub. And I've done the same thing, but I'd never had to have one to draw me about to live in. I had one for pleasure, to drive up the pub on a Sunday morning, or perhaps have a race, a trotting race. I've had full breds, half breds, cobs, 3/4 breds, but now they're 9/10. They're nearly like racehorses. You could put them in the derby if they weren't coloured. Your affections for an animal, it don't change at all. Even the older people's 80 plus, they look at a horse straight away and they think back to their roots, where it used to take them. Horses today, they're just a pleasure thing to look at out in the field. I just love horses, and so 9 travellers out of 10 will tell you the same. If they've not had a horse, they'd love to have one. They wouldn't go back to their roots. Even young people, young travellers, what's got on their feet and got a few bob, they would love to have that. To have it back and think, my grandmother used to have one of them. My grandmother fetched a nest of children up with them. But there ain't many travellers who wouldn't love to go back, even if it was only for a Saturday and a Sunday, to put that horse in, harness it up, jump in that old red wagon or a barrel top and just go 3 or 4 miles down the road. It was something else. It was out of this world. I went from Tralee, Tipperary, Killarney, Dingle, Waterford and Dublin on an awesome wagon. And it's the best holiday that I've ever had in my life. We had tourists of Japanese and Chinese on coaches pulling up and taking photographs and giving us money. They thought we was proper Irish tinkers along the road, especially when we had a fire out and I catch some trout in a stream and I'm cooking them over the fire. I have been cautioned for it many, many times, and when you stop and think about it, you are taking a chance. They have said to me, look here, Mr. Crittenden, you're asking for trouble. I only want somebody coming down on the hard shoulder or somebody coming in the fast lane, they'll cut you in half. You've got 20 or 30 motors, they'll all go down, they're straight over the top of you. It was another world, just heaven. It was like having a Porsche car against an old Bedford lorry when you won. But the best thrill was when that fella was who your racer is next to you, and you know it's just a matter of going, and you've got another gear, and you're home and dry. Collect your money at the end of the race. The last race that I went to was my son was down the A3 and that was for £5,000. They tell me up the north there are 100,000, but seeing is believing. But when you're racing for £5,000, that's a lot of money. To me it is anyway. If you don't pull your horse in and stop him from braking, you lose your race, or you've got to pull up. So a pacer and a trotter, if they race against one of them, the trotter breaks or the pacer breaks, you've got to pull him down. They do cheat, and some will let it go for a little while, but some of them try to gallop all the distance and it ain't on. You can't do it. But the old ones, they're telling, pull him down, boy, pull him down, pull him back, and 9 times out of 10, it's a fair race. Well, a trotter, a square trotter, he'll lift his legs and he's got a gate at the back. A pacer will roll. He'll roll. A beautiful thing to drive a pacer. Much better than a trotter even. When you drove a pacer, you know you drove a horse.
Home again. That wasn't too bad, was it?